Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's our chess show on Pod TV. My name is Sasha Star, and we have a distinguished guest today, um, Professor Ken Regan. Welcome to the show,
I am glad to be on again. A happy summer.
as always. And now we have Jim Eat from Eat Foundation. Welcome to the show, Eat.
Thank you for having me, Sasha.
And we have founder of the network, Nick Paliveda, 3 times Florida chess champion. Welcome to the show, Nick.
I'm here.
Oh, okay, great.
I know a little about the game.
Okay. I was thinking about on last investment show, we discussed the rare violins and bows and how people can benefit from it. What about chess as a collector's items?
Yeah.
Any of you have information about rare chess sets that could bring thousands and if not millions of dollars? I'm not aware of that, although there are some. I saw some exceptional chess sets. There is probably once in the world really unique chess museum in Zurich, Switzerland, and there are some really unique chess sets. And I bought a poster there with description and of all the chess sets. But rather than that, I'm not aware of it. But there are some exceptional chess games that you could follow and
But
enjoy.
I had a friend who's an international correspondence master, Frank Camerata, who started the House of Staunton, and he had collecting chess sets as one of his main hobbies throughout his life. So he could answer that question much better than I could.
Maybe you could invite him once.
I was
to
never a
address.
collector. Yeah, certainly.
Wonderful. Okay. So now, Ken, do you think you could show us the most significant game
Yes,
of the week?
the most significant game was the decisive result in the Women's World Championship match. I'll be delighted to show that. The match was played to a very high quality in all, and it was tighter. In some ways, more tightly played than the Nepomniachtchi Ding match. So let's see. Let me share the entire screen, and let's see. Let's see. Now, are you seeing the Chess 24 screen of the game?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Oh,
You have to share your screen.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. That's right. That's right. There's an extra step I have to click. Now it should be showing.
You're getting closer. Yes. There we go.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So this is a theoretical line. So the white took the battle to black right away. So this is Queen's Gambit in reverse, you could say.
Can you set the stage? Like what part of the match is this, and what's the score?
Yeah. Right. So entering this match, the score was 5.5, 5.5 each, with just one decisive game for each player, and 9 draws.
And these are both Chinese players for the women's.
Both Chinese players, Zhu Wenjun, white, defending her title against Ting Jie Lei.
Okay.
And or Lei Ting Jie. And Ting Jie had taken the early lead in the match. Then Zhu equalized. Then a few more draws set up this decisive confrontation.
And Ken, you've talked to us about women being underrated. Do you think that these two are underrated, or do you think their ratings reflect their actual strength?
I think they're both underrated. I think they're both around 26, 25 in strength is where I would place them.
Thank you.
So I would place them at the same level as Hou Yifan's rating, though maybe Hou Yifan would be higher if she rejoined in a more active way.
And Judith Polgar at her heydays were above 2,700.
Yeah. She was definitely in the 2,700 plus league, and I have some intrinsic rating performances by her that are.
Just her birthday was just a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, I think I wished her happy birthday.
Yeah.
And these are how you calculate it, all those numbers. Now why would you play on your last game the reverse Queen's Gambit? You know, I don't get it. I'm not really favored of doing these reverse openings.
I never was either, but that's a question of my taste.
Yeah, here it is, your most important match ever, and you're going to play the reverse Queen's Gambit.
Not
Are you
only
serious?
much, it's a game. It's a decisive game of.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but this is your decisive game. You want to pull out your best opening. Is this your best?
Well, it depends. She probably knew what line Wen Junju is going to go into, and as you'll see, Black had chances. So the
Okay,
critical
we'll
moment
see
comes
about
at
the
turn
chances.
15 in this game.
I'm just questioning the opening choice right now.
Yeah.
Well,
Reverse
the
Queen's Gambit accepted.
important issue is did Black have to play for a win in order to win the match, or a draw would lead to a playoffs?
Great
Draw
question.
would lead to playoff.
Oh, okay. So she didn't really have to play for a win.
Right.
Maybe she didn't fancy her chances in rapid chess as much.
be.
Who knows?
Yes, could be.
Yeah.
But
We're going to try to hold the pawn.
right,
Really.
and unlike when Black accepts the Queen's Gambit, the fact of White having an extra tempo
You can
makes
help.
the attempt to hold the pawn more substantial. Okay, so we're undermining White's queen side, and pins and skewers are going to prevent White from holding the pawn completely. But there's this check that allows White to throw a little bit of a wrench into Black's position. And now the point is that White is going to get these two passed pawns on the queen side. And White's extra tempo will enable White to castle out of play and thereby claim a little bit of an edge in development. But there's question of combating Black's strong center. So this
Ken, is this all book, by the way?
this is all theory
That's
through this position. So in fact, I'm now going to the chess space story.
right. So
Okay, it's
well-
often played in grandmaster games.
Well-known theoretical position.
Yep.
Yeah,
And it
it's
says-
a well-known theoretical position. And how does the computers judge these? Because that's the difference we have today than I had when I was playing the Dark Ages.
Okay, well, I'm going to show you that. Whoops, I seem to have.
You know, because back then you only had human analysis that
Right.
would show, okay, this is the theoretical position. Who stands better? Plus, minus, minus, plus.
Well, we can see the computer already at the bottom of the screen is saying, insignificant edge to Black, but it's definitely not saying a normal opening edge to White.
Really,
Yeah.
they're actually giving Black the advantage here.
Yeah, but the main point is it's not your usual plus 0.30 to White here. Now,
Right.
the engine, however, though, wants Black to play an absolutely caveman move here, G5. And I have no idea if that's book. That's not mentioned in the chess base article.
That's not a human move.
That's
That is
not,
not a human move. That's a computer move. G5.
although it would witness something.
Can you show the audience what G5 looks like?
Okay, so here we
Really
go. G5 is this, and we'll
White.
follow the computer's first line. Well, White takes over on the diagonal.
Right.
And, okay.
So
But
G5 is your ultimate computer move.
yeah, G5 ultimate computer move. Black doesn't care about castling. I mean,
Right.
and
It makes
I
sense.
thought-
You've got the center. So,
But,
Yeah,
I,
the center.
but I saw very often White plays G4 in similar position.
Oh, there we go. Now we equalize.
yes, that's right.
And I guess the king will be fine
Yeah.
sitting on E7, right?
Yeah. This is a very fine dance going on here. And so this is, I said, these are all computer moves.
yeah,
Is this all book?
this can't be.
This is Stockfish main line. So
Really?
here it is true that I would rather play Black. Because Black's knights make more sense than White's knights. And
So does computer say Black is better?
yeah, the computer has now gone over to saying that White has an advantage. So that's the
Because
other
White
thing.
has extra pawn, don't forget.
Oh no, I guess let's see. This is its old main line. Who knows?
Yeah, the computer's
computer
favoring
evaluations gyrate. Yeah, White has an extra pawn, but Black has a more coherent position. So let me back out of this.
But to get back to Nick's original point, I think from a human standpoint, before computers, we would be evaluating that, and it would come to a question of taste. Like, for example, Black has the center, and so classical theory would say Black's got the advantage, and the
Right.
more modern thought would be, hey, White has two connected passed pawns. Any ending is going to favor White. So
Yeah.
just get to the ending. And so there would be this question of what you would prefer. And Tarash told us before the ending, the gods have placed the middle game. So
Yeah.
most players, I think, would prefer to be black in this position.
What
But-
about the
Right.
plan simply to play e5, e4, knight e5, c4, knight d3? What would you do against that?
It's a
what
great
should have
idea.
happened in the
Yeah.
game.
I mean,
Is G5 really a candidate move? Would that be something you would look at, Jim?
it would not
could
be
be.
something I would consider, no. But, Nakamura would.
Oh, Nakamura would play it.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, he got married the other day, so maybe
It
he'll
could
say
be when
that.
you have a clear cut plan.
Shout out to Nakamura for your
Yeah,
marriage.
he got married,
Congratulations.
so maybe G5 would be out of the system.
I like moves like g5, but when you have a clear path, e5, e4, and so on, why do you need g5? Even if it's a good move,
Yeah.
it could be a good move, but why do you need it?
Because it's aggressive, You're trying to
But
knock
not e5.
the knight
Is
off on the
e5
other
not
piece.
aggressive?
I don't know what the purpose is. What are you gonna do? Knock the knight
You're
off?
threatening e4. You're threatening d4. You completely control the board. I think it's, in my opinion, it's a much better position for black after e5.
See, that's the classical theory, is that you control the center, you're going to win. So what
Yeah.
about the connected pass pawns on the queen side?
So you, Sasha, you like bishop d6 followed by e4?
No, I don't need bishop d6. Maybe it will be developed later to b4 after c4.
The only
no,
problem
so-
I have with e5 immediately, Sasha, is that, if the center breaks up, my king is still in the center. And, and just from a, not, just from a spider sense tingling type of thing, I would want to get my king castled before I broke in the center like that. But you might be right. It might just be a question of looking at the analysis and saying that it can be done.
I mean, see, the problem with c4 is you're giving up the d4 square, which is not
Yeah.
something you really want to do for
And
that.
black came to regret that in the game.
And eventually the dark squares, right, along that.
Yeah, right. I mean, you get a better bishop, but you're giving up a very powerful square, the d4 square for the knight, which you can hop into c6 and cause all sorts of havoc.
That's a good point.
It's almost like you don't really want to move that pawn because it controls the d4 square until you control the e5 square. I don't know when you're going to do that unless you play bishop d6, e5. Don't know.
I just think that e5 is very strong psychological move because during the live game, white feels that it's under pressure, that black is attacking. White has to do something, and there are not too many terrible choices after e5 for white. Those.
Well, I would say that both players may have considered this position in their pre-game analysis.
Yeah, it's the chess base says that this sequence was initiated by white, although black, of course, did make the decision to play c5. So queen's got reversed. So white must have liked the dynamic chances, even if you see Stockfish giving a slight nod to black, even after this more normal queen move that occurred in the game. So it's interesting. By the way, people should follow closely what you've been saying, because what you've been saying very definitely played out in the next 5 moves of the game.
Yeah, see, he can't control. They will not be able to control and stop e5. It's just not going to happen. You can't put enough pieces on it.
Right.
So ultimately, you're going to get e5 in for black.
Right.
Yeah.
But are you going to get e4 in and stop it from advancing?
No.
That's right. Now, what's interesting here is Stockfish wants black to play e5, but that was a mistake that black made in the game a move later. So I don't know, rook fc8, that's the move I would certainly play. And now queen c2. Now, when I was looking at this, oddly enough, when I was looking online at the time, queen b1 was the move that the computer wanted white to play.
Followed by rook c1.
Turns out to be, I think, the non-availability of a knight b4 move hitting white's queen. At any rate, white played queen c2. Which
that's pretty deep, Ken. But yeah, you wanted the queen on that diagonal.
Yeah.
To support e4.
Right. And so that's the thing. Now what Black should have done here is Black should have played e5. Okay, and the wrong screen.
Yeah, well, we just talked about that. You know, you're going to get an E5, and that's what you want to do.
Right.
Right.
So that was the mistake that Black made, and I was watching this position at the time, and the key point is that that this threatens a fork on C.
Right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep.
And
That doesn't really stop it. Oh, the rook, you said.
yeah, the king, the
Yeah, that doesn't really stop it. Right?
slow it down,
yeah.
but not
Bishop
stop it.
C3, and now let's see. And I forget why or where. What the difference is with the queen on C2 versus B1 in this position. But anyway, this is
backing up, Kent. Obviously pawns on D4 and C4 are superior to pawns on A4 and B5.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I agree.
we're looking at Black
And Black
just
is
kind
winning.
of taking control of the game very
Right. Yeah,
easily. here.
Black is winning if he gets that. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So
yeah. So this is anyway how
you're
Black,
really on a knife's edge here for White.
Yeah.
But
Now the
C4,
game
after
goes-
C4, I'm not so sure that about
That's
that
the
position.
problem.
But after E5, it looks like Black has got the advantage. That's just my initial reaction.
if Black plays E5 now, or
Instead of C4, yeah.
Instead of C4, E5 looks
Yes.
stronger.
yes, I would say that Black had dynamic advantage here. But now it's just a case of like, why is this worse than what Black could have had by playing E5 first?
Well, the bishop on C3 prevents that fork on C3, so you don't get that threat.
Right.
So that's one difference that I can see right away. But it also, it's curious because you don't have E4 because you allowed D4. So the bishop on C3, to me, it still looks like Black is better to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure. Okay, that makes it obvious what White's plan is to advance the pawns on the queen side.
Right.
I believe that there are two issues. Issue number one, if Black would play E5 several moves ago, threatening E4, when Black pawn was still on C5, then Knight would have to go to D2 or E1 or some kind of disadvantageous place from which it couldn't reach D4. So if you play, and even before bishop d6, you don't need this bishop d6. You don't need even queen c7. You should have done e5 right away, e4, chase a knight, because now you can start some blockading games and so on. And bishop from to reach place on b4, he could do it in one move instead of first going to d6 and then to b4. So it was definitely misplaced play on Black side.
And Black should have had this worked out before they played the game, Sasha.
And I think White would have had an answer to
Even
it
before,
by
yeah,
immediately.
even before bishop d6.
Right.
Right.
Well, okay, well, anyway, play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Even so, Sasha, I believe White would have looked at that position and had considered an immediate E5. And so I don't know what the White's response would have been, but I can't believe that the women's world champion wouldn't have considered that in their preparation.
Right. That's what I would think.
That's true. I would agree with that.
Yeah. So this is how the game went. Black did play c4, and Black possibly overestimated the chances here.
Now, instead of that, was the computer suggesting E5 again, or?
Yeah, the computer was suggesting e5. And
Yeah,
the
that still
position
looks
here,
strong to me.
After h3 and then knight c5
Right.
would have been like the game with e5 and h3 thrown in. And then
Okay.
still says white is much better with a5. There's the bishop on c3
It
supporting.
does. Okay.
I think you can only evaluate the position with concrete lines.
Yes,
And
I
you see in the game a concrete line that ended up good for white. That's what really happened.
You're absolutely right, Ken. That's one of my drawbacks is that I go on my sense of the position instead of concrete analysis too
Yeah,
often. So you're absolutely right.
Black
The
played knight
concrete lines
c5
are all that
first,
matters.
a5, and now black
that is important.
initiates a scramble here. Okay, so we're going to win something in the corner because if
can't
white
take-
plays knight takes b3 and black takes, white's bishop on c3 hangs.
Thanks.
So white
Gets rid of that.
after. Now it's interesting. I don't think the computer can really evaluate. The computer says white should just play rook a2 and stand pat, and eventually ask black, "What are you doing down there?" But it says all concrete lines. You might say, "Well, wait a second. Why can't black take this?
Yeah,
What's going on here?" Oh,
Double.
pile on. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So that's the
Can't touch that.
more there. It's easy to overlook something like that. So anyway, white went ahead and took black's knight. So now we.
Yep.
Okay, so now we've won 2 pieces for a rook. Who's
Yeah.
that in favor?
but you get the pawn.
You get that pawn and maybe another one. Let's see. Okay, so black took that. So now the computer's again evaluating this as slightly better for black, but maybe it's more losable for black because we'll see.
Because you got the 2 pieces.
Yeah, I got the 2 pieces.
I always take the pieces in this.
I like the pieces, yes.
Yeah, in this position. And here, black already made a mistake. And I wonder if black was too worried about white's pawn. Yeah, well, should have played f6 and brought the king into f7.
Mhm.
Its advance is not that scary by itself, right?
Yeah. But anyway, okay. So so black, I guess, got rid of a worry, but the problem is now d4 is really juicy.
Absolutely. It's
And
like
white's pieces. So now comes g4. Very interesting move. White has more pawns on that sector. And again, anything when you have more pieces, playing with more pawns makes sense. Okay, and now after this move, black is really in trouble.
I don't like black's position at all. I don't understand why black went in for this.
Yeah, there's no counterplay.
It just really is confusing to me.
Yeah. There's also a rule that black should be trying to trade one pair of rooks maybe in a position like this because the rook by itself would coordinate better. So let's see. So knights might be one. Maybe black
You're going to see 6. Yeah.
underestimated. Let's see. Okay, so we've got 2 knights now.
Well,
Now
another
white
thing, I like
them.
the bishop with the rooks because the bishop and rooks coordinate better. I'm not sure. I don't know what to just say. I'm only speaking in generalities now, but I still think that I just like the pieces better than the rook, and the extra pawn isn't going to be material.
Yeah.
It just looks wrong to me.
Also, the pawns are hanging now.
Yeah.
The rooks don't like to play guard duty.
That's the reason. Like if you had f65, and it'd be different.
Yeah.
Hanging pawns are not great.
White could simply play rook d4 and knight f4 and gang up. That's
Right.
It just
Even if
Oh,
black is
wow.
stuck in the short term, it's just hanging over the position. So black, played something desperate.
Yep.
Try to trade some pawns off. But
But now he's down 2 pieces for.
Yeah, you gave up all winning chances.
Yeah,
going
right.
into
You have
it.
0 chances, and you have another hanging pawn. I don't know.
Yep.
I think you're going to lose it too.
Yep.
There's absolutely no way you're going to be able to hold it, and they cut it. That's what a surprise.
yeah, so now white's a healthy pawn ahead. And,
Yeah.
So this was
Yeah, it's no longer of interest to me, but
Now the sad part,
scrolling through to the end of the game.
yeah, sure.
it's just technique.
Right.
And that was the end.
As players with good technique always say.
I hate to lose the match in regulation like that, but that's what happened. So
Oh, and it's inexplicable to me. I liked black's position better than white's, and in just a few moves, I liked white's position much better than black's. And it was a decision for white to come in with the c4, knight c5, knight b3, and go, kind of force an inferior position.
Mhm.
But they should have worked out this this E5 move way back when, because if the book, it looks like it's a theoretical position that
Right.
they should know about.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No question
They
they were
just
both
walked into
prepared.
it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
this had to be preparation, and where
Yeah,
they
because,
went wrong.
once you get the two pieces versus the rook, it's just technique, and you're lost.
I think so too, but
And so we have this cup for them. It's called Tears of My Pieces, chess opponents.
Yeah.
well,
Not
it's cruel of you to
criticize
be
either
drinking
player too harshly. What you see on the left side of my screen is my calculation in the model built with Stockfish 11 that the two players combined played at a 2800 level with high confidence that they played above 2700 level. And they were fairly evenly matched. So I measured Ju as playing 2820, which means that Lei Ching Jie will be measured 2775 or 2780.
You mean for the course of the match?
Oh yeah, for the entire match.
For
Yeah.
the entire match.
Oh yeah, because in this game I don't see that highest rated play. I think they both underperform in this game. I can't believe that if you're rightly saying that that was part of their preparation, the black preparation. Why would she played in the size against something that she was not prepared properly? So she had coaches, she had computers, she had everything, and all of a sudden, around move 7, she started to stumble and play unnecessary moves, and her C4 plan was outright wrong, really. After that, she didn't have any chances. So that's why I'm not impressed with this game. And White, although winning the game eventually, but in the opening, she didn't show anything. She was scrambling to have an equal position.
Well, Sasha, as you know, the Rue Lopez and Cecilia Neidorf and Dragon, they're well analyzed 20, 30 moves out today. And so here you have an opening that's a little offbeat, but if they're going to play it, you certainly should have a middle game strategical advantage about that in a discussion before you go in. I think the seconds failed the second player because they didn't look at E5 and they pushed the C4 pawn, which is dumb.
Well, it's not clear to me because I think it was clear from the chess-based article that they arrived at a highly theoretical position.
Right.
So there's no question in my mind that they both were aware of this. So that, like you say, it would have been in the second's hand to prepare. And so I think that it's unclear to me what White would have chosen to go into that theoretical position. And because it doesn't seem to be, it seems to favor Black's practical chances. But obviously she did so with a reason. So I think she was prepared. And so there may be some analysis that I'm not aware of about the E5, immediate E5, and White would have certainly been prepared for that. But why later on they went in for the C4, NC5, NB3 line, that's a mystery to me.
C4 is highly anti-positional move anyway. Now I'm convinced that Michael Tal, he would play E5 as the first opportunity right away. Why? Although probably he didn't analyze, or he wouldn't have analyzed that position, but logically, the advantage of Black at that point was very temporary. It was a better development, more control of center. But if you don't use it right away, it evaporates.
It's the initiative.
You cannot wait and slowly develop your pieces and castle and do all the nice things. So considering that what White is going to sit there and wait to get checkmated.
White had time for H3. Come on.
You play immediately for. I have many times played similar positions in Banca Gambit when you sacrifice, then you center with D5, E5, and you at first opportunity you drive E4, attacking knight on F3, and you. Doesn't matter how, but for the next several moves, you have superior position, you have attack, you have initiative, you have a great enjoyment of yourself, and you feel how's the life is great, and stock market is moving up at the same
And you're
time.
dictating everything. Yes.
You dictate everything. So isn't it the purpose of the game to enjoy yourself?
To control. Yes.
Yeah,
The object of the game is to checkmate
Checkmate.
your opponent.
I get it.
exactly.
I wish
Given,
I had known
given
that.
all that, you know that computer move playing G5.
Yeah.
See that part. I want to see what the follow up is. Ken, in other words, okay, you play G5. Obviously, you want to kick the knight on F3. Okay, and he plays H3 and you play H5. But what's the follow up? Okay, you kick the knight off, and how are you winning? Is your king going to go on E7? I see. I don't know what the strategic
What
plan
the
is.
actual plan is here. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, it's a computer move that certainly you'd want to deep dive into.
Yeah, how
before
do you break
play this
the king side?
before you play this variation for the world championship? You want to deep dive into this whole idea of G5 and E5.
Yeah.
That's would be my thinking.
Yeah.
Part of the reason I don't play
It's a
tournament
different line because I'm entering it from on a different move when white is castled and black hasn't.
Mhm.
So
Ken, one more point. Remember that eventually white got a nice square on D4.
yeah.
Yeah,
Now, in that line that I've suggested, early E5 and E4, white wouldn't have D4
You're
square.
absolutely right
That's the whole
about that.
So you chase knight away from D4, and only then, if you choose, you can play C5,
then you play
C4,
C4. Right.
and then bring your knight on D3, and you dominate the game. Maybe you won't win it, but you dominate. Your position is made.
It's clearly better than the way the game actually turned out. I think your line is what I would have expected to see in the real game, the game that was played,
Mhm.
and some variation along that. So I thought the C4 move was premature when it was played in the game, and that's where I go back to thinking, like, you know, is that a failure of the seconds to prepare?
Yes.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
I
Chess
think
Base
you might
does
be right.
point out that black is not doing poorly here, though white missed an opportunity. Incidentally, by the way, I've managed to scramble the Chess Base webpage by having it display diagrams in the wrong place. Let me try refreshing it and see if that
Sure.
fixes it.
That's a user error, Ken.
Yes, that's a user error. Yes, but what ChessBase points out, actually, this is a worthwhile bit of tactic. White advances the queen, threatening checkmate on G7, and you think, oh yes, this forces the trade of queens, and you play queen takes C3 automatically for black.
Not
But in
necessarily.
fact, Bishop F8,
Uh-huh.
inviting white to trade the queens, would have given black the advantage, a tactical advantage. Because
Really?
Because you
Well,
can't hold that pawn on B5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, yeah, and then you try F6 that controls.
But you're not forced. You're not forced to take. Neither side is forced to take.
Neither is forced to take, but now black can
F6 E5
apparently is okay.
So now knight D4. It's getting unclearer by the minute.
Concrete moves here. So there must be a concrete reason why knight D4 is bad, and that concrete reason happens to be this, which is amazing. White's back rank now comes back.
Ouch. Back rank.
Does the computer say in this position that black is better, Ken?
It's got
Yes,
to be.
it does.
Yeah, this is bad. I agree with this.
This looks very bad.
Oh, whoops. Whoops. Yeah, you have to trade.
There's no chance.
Yeah, this is not
You
what
trade
we intended with knight
D4.
D4. No, knight D4 is premature. I agree now that I saw BB4.
Yeah,
this is not
C3
good.
pawn is coming down.
Concrete lines.
Yeah. So there's very concrete tactics. At any event, we
That's why H3 had to be in.
Wrong
If H3, it would have been okay.
So black was just a little cavalier about what the act of rounding up the B pawn would be, and didn't time the play in the center correctly.
Oh, I see what you're saying. This is true. I think she must have thought that with her calculations that B pawn was going to fall.
Yeah,
And that would explain going into this line.
right. Thinking that this was fine, but now why
Oh, this is not good. No.
Right.
Not
Now
good
we
either.
know that it's not good, but I think probably when she went into this, so she would have been calculating well ahead to get to this position, she would have thought that b pawn is weak and is going to fall, and then I would have good pawn structure and the two rooks versus the. This would give me compensation.
Right.
The d5 pawn would not be weak. e6 is still protecting it, and that I would have winning chances in this position. And that if the b pawn, you take the b pawn off, then I would like black. But I think that's the error in her calculations.
Right.
That the b pawn would not come off unless the e pawn was also gone.
Yes. But then you don't misevaluate the position.
And that makes all the difference in the world. Once
Black would have liked to have
becomes
gotten in
weak.
f6 and king f7, but not possible now. So
Very interesting. I never.
Lei, are you listening to this? I
Pardon?
was talking to the Chinese person.
I'll unshare. I'll come back to the main. So we might be singing a different song if Black had played the patient bishop f8. So, but
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
But on the other hand, it is also
Yeah.
true that that White had a better move than bishop takes knight on f6. The very
Right.
patient rook a2. So
Right.
So patience in both cases important.
Yep.
Well, as you get longer into these matches, does the quality of the play kind of deteriorate? Is that something
Could be.
we
No,
can
but
say?
that's
So
not
we
what
started
happened.
at 2800. And that started when we
The quality uniformly kept going up, and as I've shown in other windows, I measure both players near 2800 with several different buildings of my model, so it's fairly consistent.
Interesting, because I would think nerves would start to play a bigger role. And
They did on a couple of moves, but the opening, the level of play in general was very sound.
Yeah.
So let's see. So where do I have my?
and Jim, you see more if you're a kibitzer, always.
always.
Yeah,
That's why Kibitzer is a king.
The kibitzer always sees more.
I found out that commenting on moves rather than playing them was my strength.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Same thing in soccer. When I'm watching soccer matches, I see such great moves and I
Oh.
see all great combinations. So, but I don't think I would succeed to show on the field
In
and
real
do something.
time, it's hard. Yeah.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
50 years ago I could, but not now.
Well, wonderful choice of game, and it's
That's good.
defending her title. That's a tip of the hat to the women's world champion.
Let's just mention a double congratulations to Hikaru Nakamura, first
Yeah.
of all,
Yeah.
on defeating Magnus Carlsen to win the bullet title this week, and on being married to Atusa Prakashian.
Yes.
Yes.
I know he had been
Yes.
dating for a while. Yeah.
Do you remember, Ken, before we end our program, what Carlson said about Nakamura beating him in bullet chess?
It's funny. The match was really close. Carlson said, "I was aware maybe of Hikaru being slightly better than me in bullet, but I didn't realize he was this far ahead of me in bullet."
Exactly. That's what he said.
It's
Nakamura, that's all he does.
interesting because what's brewing in the works is a multifaceted title contest
Yes.
between Carlson and Nakamura.
It's got to happen. The world wants to see it.
That's
Yeah.
going to be first $10 million event in chess forever.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe even more.
Congratulations to Carl.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for today's program. We had a very interesting game, and we'll see you same time next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.